Stop for freedom.
After Hamas launched its deadly terrorist attack in Israel this past October, and Israel began its unrelenting war in Gaza in response, President Biden warned Iran and its proxies in the Middle East to stay out of it. One of those groups decided instead that it was all in. That group is a Shia militia from Yemen, known as the Houthis. Yemen is the poorest country in the Middle East, but its 1,200 miles of coastline leads in and out of the Suez Canal, the primary route by sea between Europe and Asia, responsible for $1 trillion a year in global trade. So when the Houthis began to attack commercial ships in solidarity with Hamas, President Biden faced a crisis in the Red Sea and sent the U.S. Navy into its first major fight of the 21st century. Our report begins not on the water, but in the air. We're from a U.S. Navy reconnaissance plane 500 feet above the Red Sea. We were the first journalists to see the types of commercial ships the Houthis have targeted, and the U.S. warships sent to protect them.
We're not going to let the Houthis hold this strait hostage.
Vice Admiral Brad Cooper is the U.S. military's deputy commander in the Middle East. After October 7th, as the Navy's top officer in the region, he ordered the Fifth Fleet into an area it typically sailed right through. How many sailors are now in the Red Sea?
Yeah, we've got about 7,000 right now. So it's a large commitment.
What makes the Red Sea one of the most important waterways in the world?
15% of global trade flows exactly through the Red Sea. And so keeping these waterways open is critical. It's a core commitment the United States has from a strategic perspective to maintaining the free flow of commerce.
The Red Sea is about the size of California. In the north, the Suez Canal. In the south, the 20-mile-wide strait known in Arabic as the Bab el-Mandeb, or in English as the Gate of Grief. It was near there 3 months ago that a Japanese chartered ship built to carry cars was hijacked by the Houthis, who posted this video. Since then, according to the Pentagon, the Houthis have attacked at least 45 ships, and the U.S. Navy has shot down more than 95 drones and missiles fired by the militia that controls 1/3 of Yemen, including the capital, Sana'a. As Houthi attacks intensified in December and January, the world's largest container ship companies all made the decision to avoid the Suez and go around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, adding as much as a month of travel time and $1 million in fuel. U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell told 60 Minutes 2 weeks ago the diversions pose a risk to the global economy, and in the near term,
that's going to affect Europe much more than it's going to affect us.
Tesla and Volvo were both forced to suspend some European production last month due to supply chain disruptions. There are still ships going through the Suez, mostly smaller regional carriers that are willing to run the current risks of the Red Sea. How much is that, in terms of that traffic, has it been reduced by half?
It's been reduced on any given day, sometimes 40%, but it's clearly flowing. And I think in many respects it's flowing because of the defensive umbrella that we put over the southern Red Sea, for sure.
The official name of that defensive umbrella is Operation Prosperity Guardian. It's a coalition of more than 20 nations that includes the United Kingdom, but most of the ships, aircraft, and firepower are coming from America. When was the last time that the U.S. Navy operated at this pace for a couple months?
I think you have to go back to World War II, where you have ships who are engaged in combat. When I say engaged in combat, where they're getting shot at, we're getting shot at, and we're shooting back.
Initially, the Houthis, backed by Iran, stated they would only shoot at ships linked to Israel in support of the Palestinian people and to force a ceasefire in Gaza. Their ultimate political aims, as well as their actual aim, appears to be less precise. They have fired at ships tied to dozens of nations. The Houthis' official motto is "God is great, death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews, victory to Islam."